Hello, everyone. I am Manish Birtharia, your host today. And on the behalf of QA Talks community, I welcome you all. And I am hosting the first episode of Interview Preparation Series 2022. So, we are currently live on LinkedIn and YouTube. So, let's welcome our speaker, Mr. Durga. So, he's working as a senior software test engineer. So, so this is very excited. Means first time we are going with the who is a hardcore developer in testing. So he has a rich experience in software testing and currently based in UK. So before starting, let me tell you, during discussion, audience can pose their question in the comment box, and we will be addressing those at the end of the discussion. If anyone wants to talk to Durga directly, they can request it in the comment box, and our backend team make them enable, and they can come live and ask the question directly to Durga. Okay, thanks. So now, Durga, it's over to you. And once again, welcome you. So why can't you start with about yourself and introduce yourself, what you are doing, in which company you are working?
Yeah. So thanks, Manish, and it's privilege to give a talk, and it's my first talk, so I'm a bit
Hmm.
nervous, and
Okay.
probably I'll try to make myself cool, and I'll try to answer like all of your questions. And if I fail to do so, probably I will give it later on.
Sure.
So basically, I have all total 7 years of experience and in software testing. So currently, I'm working with Signity Technologies based out of London, and yeah, I have previous experience with ITC Infotech. So there I came to UK, and obviously,
Hmm.
I was hired for on-site in ITC. So I did not work much in ITC offshore, but though I worked here
Hmm.
for a like 2.5 years, and recently I changed my company as well. And basically in the automation, so here I'm working with C Sharp and C Sharp automation, front end automation, and probably I'll go back to the back end automation as well. But I was having previous experience of front end as well
Hmm.
as API automation using Java. So it's a
Okay.
completely different for me. So it's always
Hmm.
like whenever you're getting an opportunity, learn new languages because that will add more value.
True.
Yeah. So that is a brief introduction about myself.
Cool. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. As you said, you moved from the organization, they have deployed you in the UK, and then you have just now changed your organization in UK
Yeah.
itself. So, would you mind telling us, means how it happened, means how interview scheduled and how it started and all everything?
Okay, so basic. I mean, like, I know most of the people they don't know the process, like how you into get into UK first.
Hmm.
So, so getting into UK is you need to have a sponsorship first of all. So, what is
Okay.
sponsorship means? Somebody has to sponsor you, or somebody has to take care of yourself if something goes wrong. So you fell in sick, so somebody has to provide money because you are in UK. So that is the reason why sponsor is required. So without having a sponsorship you cannot even enter into a company. So even though you have openings in the UK, so directly you cannot
Hmm.
come if they are not sponsoring you. Though they can schedule an interview and you'll be selected, but the
Hmm.
company is not providing the sponsorship, then you cannot even come here. So that is quite straightforward, and they'll sponsor means they'll give the sponsorship, they'll give you the visa and everything.
Okay.
So that is the first thing. And coming to the interview process was,
Hmm.
so basically like I'll tell my ITC experience, like how I came to UK.
Hmm.
So basically, like they have conducted the interview. So I have given a few rounds of interview. Then, eventually, like based upon your score, interview score, so they will be identifying this like candidates like whom they are going to proceed with the on-site role.
On-site
I
role.
was
Yeah.
being yeah, I was being told there is a
Hmm.
high chance of going to UK, but
Hmm.
most of the companies they give all this kind of commitments, and
Yeah.
at the end of the day you'll end up in offshore. So
Very
that's
true.
that's
Very
quite
true.
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So even I was also in that impression, and I was not even impression of going to on site and all those stuff because When you are
Mm-hmm.
getting paid good, then obviously you would think, okay, what is your
Mm-hmm.
next role? But probably that came with a advantage, like when you're coming to on-site. So that's a
Coming
good thing.
outside. Yeah.
Yeah. And the interview process wise, as I told, like they will be doing the certain amount of checks before they send you, because obviously the market, see, when you're working with offshore, and
Mm-hmm.
we most of us, we work with onshore team. So the same
Okay.
thing, if we come here, then also we can deliver, but there are certain aspects they see before they send to the on-site, because they'll make
Okay.
sure, okay, because you are representing a company, you are not representing yourself when you're coming to a on-site. That way,
Correct.
when we are working with a service companies, they
Mm-hmm.
are mostly like, they tell it is a employee centric, but yeah, definitely we are getting all the benefits from the our employer, as well as they are moreover like they are customer centric as well, because for
Mm-hmm.
them, like the customer is the uh, biggest part, because they are getting the revenue from the, at the end of the day, from the
True.
customers, isn't it? So they will be moreover. So the interview process was, as I told, like,
Mm-hmm.
first I have been through so many interviews. Then they will see the scores and everything. I don't. So that based upon that, they'll be selecting many candidates. It's not like only
Mm-hmm.
me. I was being interviewed. So there are
Okay.
some other persons also. They are being interviewed by the on-site team. I mean, like the on-site client, on-site team. First, they'll do a mock interview with the on-site team. So once you are cleared that round, then probably
Mm-hmm.
you will be going to the next round with the client.
Client.
So
So you
it's,
said two technical rounds.
yeah.
Okay. Then.
So the technical rounds is not like, something they'll come and they'll ask you like normal questions, okay, what you have
Mm-hmm.
done, and nothing like that. But it's a pure interview. Like few people, they think the client round is like a kind of, okay, it's okay. They'll be coming and asking questions, okay, what you have done so far, and all those stuff. Nowadays, it is not like that. I
Mm-hmm.
just
It's a
make into clear, yeah, because few
yeah.
people, because even I was
Mm-hmm.
under impression,
Mm-hmm.
because I was not knowing, because I was working for a product based company in my previous
Mm-hmm.
experience to the ITC, so
Mm.
it was kind of different, like what we had there. So here, like I was first, I was working for a services company, and I was thinking like, okay, how it will be. So I thought like,
Yeah.
okay, once you are cleared the interview and they rolled out the offer, then you are in always.
No.
So so the client round, obviously, even I was not even having any impression like client round they'll be asking so many technical questions and all those stuff. But it's good, like I was well prepared, and I met with an
Mm-hmm.
accident that time. So it's a
Oh.
good, like I was in my hometown. So it's a good experience. But yeah,
Mm.
generally it will be a too technical nowadays, in UK
Nowadays.
basically, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So don't take technical round as like, they'll come and they'll ask you like normal questions, and
Mm-hmm.
just, you know mm, so you should be well prepared, because this is a one time opportunity. Because if you miss one, then getting one, another one is, it's not that easy. I'm saying it's not difficult, but it's not even easy, because
Not
it's,
easy. So just a query city means I want to no, means I guess everyone wants to understand here means what are the recommendations from you means where candidates should apply for the jobs means as I know one of the best thing is a LinkedIn. Any other place do you think that these are the source where we should apply?
yes. So I will tell you one thing. So there are two things basically,
Hmm.
to coming to UK. So always you have an option to go to any company, maybe a product based company, or maybe a service based company. But most of the time, uh,
Hmm.
I have seen the product based company, they don't send to on site.
Okay.
It's quite obvious. I mean, like most of the time, I'm saying it's not like they are not sending, but yeah, definitely if you're coming to a service based company, and
Hmm.
you will be sent to on-site, but that also depends, because few companies, they don't want to send you straight away. Probably you will be put up in a project maybe for a year or maybe 2 years, because I have my friends, a lot of friends, they worked for a year or maybe 2 years, maybe
Hmm.
3 years. It just depends upon you, and 6 months, and you come. So I felt like I was quite lucky. So there is one,
Okay.
straight away I came here, because I never seen like many people they came here. So we two or three from
Hmm.
ITC, we came straight away
Hmm.
to UK. So that is, I felt like I'm the lucky one. I mean, like it's quite luck because you can't predict, right? Like you don't even work for the company. They how can they trust you to send to UK? So that is one thing.
Correct.
So it's purely based upon your interview. So in that perspective, and
Okay.
there are another way.
Mm-hmm.
So you can apply for the jobs in UK. The market in UK is volatile now, so there are a lot of jobs. You
Mm-hmm.
can apply for the jobs. I can give you some sites maybe at the end of the day. End of
Okay.
our call, I can give you some suggest some sites, so you
Mm-hmm.
can search the job with sponsorship provided, and you can
Mm-hmm.
apply for the jobs. And obviously, if you apply for like thousands of jobs, then probably you will get hardly two or three or five, something like that.
Converted into the
Yeah.
interview. Okay.
Convert into
Yeah.
the interviews because you are coming from India. So basically,
Mm-hmm.
when you are in UK, so the
Mm-hmm.
probability of, though I'm not the citizen here, or maybe I don't have the ILR to stay here, but still I have some UK experience with some good client. So I was working for
Mm-hmm.
Santander Bank. So
Okay.
that is a good bank, is a big bank. I mean, a huge, they have a huge like a turnover and all those stuff, and one of the largest bank here. So
Okay.
that played a good role. But when you're applying from India,
Mm-hmm.
so you do apply even though you get many rejections, but don't get pissed off, or don't hesitate to apply more, because there are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
opportunities here. They are identifying the resources. But I'll tell you like what is the hot market nowadays, but later on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Cool. Cool. So, um, one general question, as you know, purely from the uh, developer engineer test. So,
Yeah.
can you tell everyone that what are the common questions which you were asked in most of the interviews? Means any set of questions which you generally asked.
So basically now, earlier, like the market was okay if you know the basic concepts, or you can answer, like it's like always like a theoretical questions. Basically they'll come
Mm-hmm.
and they'll ask you questions, you answer the questions, then you are
Mm-hmm.
in. But nowadays market has changed, they have shifted to the
Mm-hmm.
different model. So
Mm-hmm.
there are two types of interviews. One, they'll give you some task,
Okay.
how the developer used to get earlier. They'll be giving
Mm-hmm.
you a task.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, like you'll be completing that task and put up in the Git, and send the Git link to them. So they will see and they'll verify the things. Once your standard view of writing code, and you are maintaining all the standards, and
Mm-hmm.
sorry, the framework is good, so then they will identify based upon that. And the
Okay.
other, so that is one part. And the other one is like they'll straight away they'll get into the you know interview. They'll ask questions. So
Mm-hmm.
nowadays the questions is based upon the technical ones, and they'll give you
Okay.
some scenario based questions for SDET
Mm-hmm.
role. Because
Mm-hmm.
SDET role, they won't even ask nowadays. Because if I'm taking I was taking the interview for ITC. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like we have to pick the candidate who is like technically good. So
Okay.
if you want to, so the questions are basically, you told like what are the basic questions.
Mm-hmm.
So the questions are related to the Selenium, like how to write the dynamic XPaths, and how to handle the dynamic tables. Because if you know that, the other things are
Mm-hmm.
quite simple. But these things are like quite complicated, because when your internal DOM is dynamically changing, then
Mm-hmm.
how do you like handle those? So how you pick it? So most of the people, I'll tell you, most of the people
Mm-hmm.
fail here, because I've taken many interviews. So
Mm-hmm.
they fail here. They don't have an approach how to on the code and that.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have certain amount of experience, then the other person will be like expecting, okay, you should be doing this. It's not like I know everything. So
Mm-hmm.
even if I give like 10 interviews, I might fail in 9, I might crack in one, or maybe I can fail in 10 interviews, but at least you should give a try.
Mm-hmm.
And other than this, if you're working in Java, they'll ask you all Java related OOPS concepts. They are very important, OOPS
Mm-hmm.
concepts. And one more thing I'll suggest, nowadays they're asking code as well. So
Okay.
code means, it's not
Mm-hmm.
like few people they think, okay, code means like we need to prepare everything like coding wise. So they go for difficult programs, everything.
Mm-hmm.
So to be very honest with you, there is a difference between a developer and a tester. So as a tester, you shouldn't be getting into such complex programs where you leave the normal questions. So I've seen many people, they know like the how to code in complex questions, but the same question, if you ask a same like a normal question, they'll fail to do so, because they'll never go for the basic questions.
Okay.
So always you should target for beginner and intermediate level questions.
Okay. So this is what your suggestion is.
Yeah.
And as you said, some concept from the Java side and OOP side.
Yeah.
So uh, is there any other scripting language
Yeah.
also there? Means are
Yes.
they? So
Yes.
can you just tell us
So
about more on this? Yeah.
yeah. So nowadays a tester is not only a tester,
Mm-hmm.
because when you are applying for a software development engineer test, so that means you are equivalent. You are not equal, but you are equivalent to a developer.
Developer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now they are asking like we need to have the knowledge on AWS, which I don't have, but currently I'm preparing for that. I'm getting into that mode, because that was and if you have AWS, that is always a advantage, because now
Okay.
people are moving to the cloud technologies, all companies they're moving to.
True.
And if you have Azure knowledge, so that will be good, Kubernetes and all those stuff. So that if you have that, then your role is like your probability is going more. So always
Okay.
is good, like if you have the knowledge on that. And the Jenkins pipeline, if you worked on Jenkins or maybe TeamCity or maybe some other technologies you have worked upon, but it is mandatory, I'm saying, because if you don't know how to set up a job, then obviously
Mm-hmm.
how you become an automation tester, because it's our part of role. Few people tell like we have teams, they do it. Definitely they do it, the setup, because in my previous project also they used to do, but we used to do the Jenkins setup and all. So that is more required, yes. And database knowledge, few people they don't like automation wise, I've seen many people they don't
Mm-hmm.
they don't prefer like to have a database knowledge. If I don't,
Database
I
knowledge.
know, yeah.
Yeah.
So the database knowledge is 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 always required. I don't think like database is not required, so please be prepared for at least Oracle SQL. Or
Okay.
because if you know Oracle SQL, MySQL is like the same. Or if
Yeah,
you know
even I will
MongoDB and
add
all.
here. Yeah, means
Yeah.
even I will add here means if you are not the hardcore develop tester, even you are the manual one, you need the database knowledge. That is must.
Yes.
Yeah, so that is true. Yeah. So these are the additional points you will get in. Means if you are able to answer these questions, so these will add additional points in your
Yes.
interviews. So that is what.
Because
Mm-hmm.
Jenkins is more important, Jenkins, or if
Mm-hmm.
you have knowledge on AWS and all those stuff. So it's always like a added advantage if somebody is not having that knowledge. And though you have given a good interview, the other candidate they found, they are quite equal, maybe they are little bit less also, but they have this knowledge, then obviously they'll prefer that candidate over you. So I failed
Mm-hmm.
in few interviews because of this, so I'm
Okay.
just giving
So,
it.
yeah, cool, cool. So, so as you said, means Selenium and Java. So, any specific questions come from the framework designing side or kind of that?
Yeah, so framework designing point of view, they always
Mm-hmm.
ask nowadays. People earlier, like how they used to ask, they used to ask like, okay, what is your like framework? So how it is designed? So we used to tell, okay, we have different packages, we this that, and we have different folders, and they used to say, okay, that's fine, that looks good. But nowadays they'll ask you like how you do like the end-to-end journey. So there people they might stuck, because when you are applying for UK roles, obviously
Mm-hmm.
this will be asked, and that to be in India. Because when they are taking the candidates from India, there are a
Mm-hmm.
lot of they do a lot of interview process, they do a lot of questions they ask, and the questions that the interview process will be a little bit different than
Okay.
when you're applying from here. So
Yeah. Got it. Got it. So means yeah, it's quite interesting and informative
yes.
information.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you will be giving from a perspective in the sense like how you have done your setup, and have
Mm-hmm.
you participated in developing your framework from the scratch, they'll ask you. Because nowadays here people are like in UK, I'm saying the people are moving to shift towards like all the
Mm-hmm.
banking clients, I'm saying all the banking sector, they are moving to automation directive.
Mm-hmm.
So in that they need the resources who can do the setup right from the beginning. So you need to have a
Hmm.
You need to have a knowledge on this, like how to do the setup from the scratch, and how, and you should be explaining the like the interviewer how
Hmm.
you have done it, like you have written a feature, so how it is going to that underlying step definitions, how it is going to the
Hmm.
page, how it is like getting from right from the beginning, and how you are setting up your environment, because
Hmm.
we do the parameterization every time. It's not like you are stick to one browser, so you will be like moving to a different browsers.
Okay. So the level of question difficulty is get changed when the positions demand, means like it's
Yes.
if it is like, so if you have something on that, can you just tell us about, means how it will be?
Yeah, so basically, in UK, I have seen, so there are two types of roles. One is like
Mm-hmm.
a normal SDET role, and the other one is the senior SDET role. So in the SDET role, they might ask you about the one languages and all those stuff, and basic Jenkins setup, and you're good in coding skills. But when you're applying for senior SDET role, so
Mm-hmm.
they will expect like you have a cloud technology knowledge, and you have some scripting knowledge, because when you are putting up this Jenkins, and also we write the scripts, Groovy scripts,
Mm-hmm.
so which I don't have, but yeah, I'm in the back. I'm just learning it, because it's good to like tell people, okay, I don't know, because then
Yes,
saying, okay, I have the knowledge, because that is always a dangerous when you are giving the interview. When you're putting
correct.
something you don't know, then
Hmm.
always you will fail into that, because if they ask the questions, even though your interview was good, but you
Yeah,
will be kicked out because of that reason.
correct. So since we can see, means
And
our
JavaScript.
audience also started asking the question, sorry.
Yeah.
So I guess there is one question you can see on the screen. Can they ask the framework creation task in interview? So this is the question from Dharam Rawat. So he's,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, I'll tell you one thing. Like,
Hmm.
uh, so they did ask me. So how do you start? Like, what is your parameters to
Hmm.
create a framework before even creating a framework? So what is the parameters, or what is the constants you should be looking for, and how you would be going, or how you would be starting? So what is your thought process before even starting a framework? They asked me. So what is the parameter you will see? Because it's not like you go and straight away create a task. So you need to have like certain like points, or maybe you should be following that those points, and you will be creating your framework. So you cannot straight away go and take a framework. So that is a very important questions they ask, and obviously most of the people fail to answer maybe what they are expecting, because I once they asked me, so I have given my all my points, but
Hmm.
they told they asked me, so what are the parameters you would be seeing if you want to scalable your application?
Okay.
So because it's not only like you create the application for yourself. Scalability
Hmm.
means like when there are a lot of features are coming, and there are a
Features
lot of
coming.
things,
Yeah.
a lot of codes you are adding, whether that framework is withstanding those, and
Yeah.
whether it
How
is
it is performing.
yeah, whether it is compatible with other applications. So if I want to add the JavaScript, or if I want to do an integrated framework, so whether it will compatible with that or not. So they asked me, so
Correct.
these are the questions you should be looking for, because
Hmm.
they definitely, if you're going for a senior role, or maybe now in the SDET role also they are asking, but senior role it is mandatory. They do ask all these
Hmm.
points, so you need to be prepared with this.
Prepare for this.
Yes.
True. So, as I understand, most of the question they ask, like if you haven't done, but they're trying to understand from your answer whether you are able to capable to do that as well.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So, out of this means anything which is now we just got one more question. So let's take this first. So now we do have some software which can easily be tested, testing job. Then what is the future of QA engineer? Also, mm, can we apply for remote position? So I guess there are two questions. So one
Mm.
question, the QA engineer future he is talking about, and another, is it possible to apply the remote job for UK position?
Mm. Okay, so that's a. I can give you some best examples for this. So even when I have 7 years of experience, down to the line, if I see my future, I also ask myself this question, because whether we have any future or not. But definitely, QA always have a future, because nowadays if you see in India market, I don't know
Mhm.
because I'm staying here. So I can't comment like maybe to the fact, but at least like what my friends experience, their experience, I'll tell you. So now the India market is boom. I mean, like if you are changing the company, you will get paid like hell. So when you are asking these questions, so I will
Mhm.
tell, if there is no future of the QA, then there will not be
Mhm.
any market in India, and India is going to be a global hub for QA, because they are finding it cheap. The
Mhm.
amount they are paying in the corresponding countries, it is more, but the
Mhm.
same amount, if they give you like 20 lakhs or 30 lakhs of package, then obviously they are saving some money, but they are happy to give it. So,
Yeah.
and you think like QA doesn't have any future? I'll tell you one
Mhm.
thing. Unless and until you try doing new things, you try adapting new technologies, then always
Mhm.
you are in upper side. But
Mhm.
yeah, for them there is no future. Who wanted to like see? You can't be a manual tester all the time.
All the time.
Okay, now the people management is being reduced. If you see in many companies, so even the managers, they do contribute in the individual tasks.
Mhm.
So that is always a good thing, like you take technical things in your part, and try to
Mhm.
improve yourself. If you don't want the management role, because there are two sides, you can go for the management role, or either you can be in the technical side. If you're in the technical side, always there is no
Mhm.
harm for any QA. You will see.
Okay.
So if that is the case, then we see in the 2020, so when the corona hit, so it is not like they have expelled the QA engineers. There are more demand of QA engineers, because these things are like the IT sector is growing nowadays. Every like a small
Mhm.
organization also, they need to have a like a software. So if they want to have a software, developer cannot test their code, to be very honest with you. So they want a
True.
QA. So there is nothing to harm about. And few people, they tell, okay, they code and they write the test cases even, but
Mhm.
100% efficiency cannot be achieved by a developer's code.
Mhm.
And if a developer write the code, they'll not even think about all the perspectives. If they do so, then they can see, if a developer, they are writing always the testers testing code, then for a company it is a it's a they are losing their money, isn't it? They are paying a lot, and they are asking the developer to write the testing code all the time, 100% efficiency, I'm saying. So so that is the reason why there is a need of a QA engineer. So don't worry about it. So
Mhm.
QA engineer at the best.
Yeah. And before we go to the next question, Vithi, she asked that is there opportunity for remote job?
Yeah,
So even I want to add something here, as yeah, machine can do the job, but to make that happen, we need to program it. So anyway, uh, needs is there, means it's not going to be closed soon. Means
yeah.
yeah, if application is testing something, yeah, you need to make that application that way so that it able to test the software. So QA will be there, no worry. So how about this remote job opportunity?
I have seen many UK, probably they are asking for like candidates should be
Mhm.
here, and they are even outsourcing, even though they don't have companies, so they outsource the job from here. But many European countries I have seen, if you are applying
Mhm.
for European countries, like for example Finland, we have in Poland. So there are like few countries you can apply for the jobs, and they do give the opportunity for remote working, and with good
Mhm.
salary. So you can try for that, because Finland is a country like the survival, like I don't think so like people are like willing to go to Finland, because the
Okay.
temperature is so high, like I mean like not high, I mean like it's very cold
Mhm.
there, so
Yeah,
most of the
because of
time. Yeah,
uh, environment and weather. Yeah.
yeah. So there, they do get the outsourcing, so you can try
Mhm.
for few jobs there. So obviously they are not sponsoring you, but they'll give you some remote location. But nowadays with this pandemic begin, so there are more of works are going to be outsourced, and the market is going to be reduced in the on-site roles. I have seen there are there are few on-site roles is being evolving, and there are few on-site roles are also going out to India. when they have seen the work from home is being worked out, then obviously
Mhm.
they are thinking, okay, why can't we give the job in India, because if it is getting done over there, then we are saving some money. Everybody wants to save their money. Even
True,
in our day-to-day expenses also we do the same thing. Same for company.
true. So, Durga, as we see, means we have a mixed audience, some of freshers and entry levels, and some of experience here. Okay. So, what are your tips for those candidates? Means in general, also means
Okay,
if we are
general.
not, yeah, seeing
So
only
for
the opportunity of, yeah, overseas. So in general,
yeah,
what you want to give the
yeah.
tip?
So I'll go with fresher. So fresher always. I have seen many freshers here as well. So they come here, but freshers, you can come through a company, or if you're studying here, obviously you'll get a job. But from India coming here, it's a little bit difficult. But it's not
Mhm,
no doubt like it is. So you can go for bigger companies. I mean, like there are some global companies who recruit people from throughout the different organization. If you are from well-known uh, colleges, or if you have a technical skills, right, technical skills, you can go for the some you go and apply in Stack Overflow, you go apply in some other, I'll tell you like few other job portals. You can go and apply
mhm,
over there. And if you are a
mhm,
good technical skills as a fresher, technical in the sense like it's not like you know Java or coding. You only need require is you are good in your what we say like coding skills. If you have a good coding skills, and if you have a good aptitude knowledge, then obviously you are in. So they will be seeing these two. And nowadays people are doing a lot of courses even before they come onto IT. So even you do like development course, if you do a data engineering course, they definitely you will not be into that role being a fresher. So they'll always like identify your talent and put up in a in a like certain positions there. So it is always there. So don't just try to be stick to your basics. At least if you're going for Java, then only core Java. If you're going for Python, then just learn the
mhm,
Python. And try to be good in coding in a sense. It's not like entire everything. I mean, like the basic codes and your few algorithms and all those stuff. So that will get in you through. And for experience, I would tell diversify your knowledge. It's not only you'll be like nowadays it's not only the front end. So the back end demand is very high, microservices.
mhm,
So you try to, if you have a very nice knowledge on front end automation, but if you have never worked in back end automation, so I would suggest them as experience, just do some courses. Like you have a lot of courses, like I would suggest like Rahul Sethi, you go, like he gives a very nice
mhm,
courses. So you can go and if like if you worked on mobile automation, but you don't know like the backend automation,
mhm,
everything comes with the backend automation. So always like you be good in microservices or the APIs, I'm saying some. So if you're good in that, then obviously, because nowadays people do ask API knowledge. Without having API knowledge, it's
mhm.
difficult. Even though you do have a good knowledge on the front end side, there are jobs, but if you know two things, it's very nice.
Cool.
And the coding, lead code,
Yeah,
you
lead
can
code.
practice some. Again, I'll tell, like people, they always go for like complex programs. Don't go for
Mhm.
complex programs, because you leave the intermediate and beginner levels. So at the end of the day, they'll consider you as a tester only, not developer.
Developer. Yeah,
Yeah.
that
So
is true.
always
That is true.
intermediate and the basic programming you can see in the lead code.
Correct, correct. So, see, since this we are in QA, so how much percentage of the in the questions they usually ask from the side of like strategy, planning, and some testing related questions means out of
I'll
this
tell some 2 to
mhm,
3%.
2 to 3%. And what are those
Being
means?
a being a, I mean, like how many interviews I've given, not even like what I'm working for, they never ask me which
Mhm,
project, what is your project, and nothing they
mhm,
ask me. Like, so I just give like a one sentence or two sentence about my project
mhm,
during my Even I don't prefer to give, because nobody wanted to know what project, because even though I'll explain, you will not understand.
Hmm.
So this is
Yeah.
what the market has changed now. Earlier people used to ask like, what is your project? They dig into your project, but nobody asks. Being a technical side, I'm saying, it's not for
Hmm.
manual. For
Hmm.
manual, like obviously they'll go for the your basic knowledge and your business knowledge. But for this, they ask these questions:
Hmm.
how many test cases you have automated, or
Hmm.
so if you have a automation to run, and there is a release, and you have your automation runs, so you have a lot of tests. So how do you identify your test to be run?
Hmm.
So that, like, you need to have the business knowledge in that part, because
Hmm.
being a automation knowledge, people have given the test cases, and it's not like nowadays people are working along with the sprint team. So they have a manual testers as well as the automation testers. Within the sprint only you will be developing. So when they are doing the manual testing, you will be developing your script, and it is very challenging because they will be keep on changing, and you need to be adaptive to those changes. That's why I told at the initial, dynamic coding is required nowadays.
Nowadays.
You cannot take a absolute XPath and just write your code. So that
Hmm.
used to work, because earlier, because there was a like a build is coming, and only you are preparing the regression pack. Even now also we are preparing the regression pack, but along with the regression pack, as we are within the sprint, so always we are going to deliver within the sprint, or maybe we are taking like 2 or 3 days next sprint. So that is fine, but you need to be adaptive with those dynamic coding, and you code a simple, like, your code will not break. So I
Correct.
can give some points also, like keywords like that, so later on
Hmm.
probably.
Okay. Cool. So let so we got one more question. So so can you help with us? So she's saying, I have been in to UK thrice on the business visa for the short trips, and the firm I work with currently, I am working as a senior tester analyst. My question is, uh, will this experience trip will help in getting the sponsorship easily? Or again, it
Mm,
totally depend upon the interviews or the so I can see means there are two different things. One thing is
yeah.
whether her experience which she's visited no UK, will that add on something in her resume or
Mm.
credentials? Okay.
Uh, so see, so I'm at her place, because when I was
Mm-hmm.
working with IG, so I came to London for a month. I stayed for a month here. 2018, I came for a month, and 2019 obviously I came here. So it might or it might not, because they will not give you the role based upon your trips, because I
Mm-hmm.
might stay here for 5 years. If I go back to India for some reason, if I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to come here, my 5 years, even eventually that they'll consider. But short trips probably, uh, you cannot quantify yourself, like, okay, because the short trips is always for a business knowledge, or maybe they are doing any transition, so they give the knowledge. And they, if so, that's the reason why they ask people to the on site. Generally, like, in general thumb rule, people say, if there is a transition or there is a knowledge sharing, then obviously
Mm-hmm.
people come to UK, because with a business visa you should not come and work here as a rule. So it's like always like as a transition or maybe a business change, so you should
Mm-hmm.
come here. So that might help you or might not, but I would definitely tell, this is based upon your interview, how you are giving. It's not like how many trips you have done, because I have seen many people, they have been to, it's not only the UK, like
Mm-hmm.
they've been to like many countries for a short trip, but it's always like a business. So you can't quantify yourself.
Okay. And that too again depend upon the interview as
Yes.
her last question. Yeah, means how you are
Yeah,
performing in the
performing, yes.
yeah.
Because
So
at the end
if
of the day, for them, like, it's a work, right? It's not like how many trips or maybe how many
yeah.
times you come here.
Yeah, but what I believe means if you have a like 3 to 4 years of core working experience, not on the business visa, but you are on the work visa there,
Yes.
so that might help, I
Yes,
guess.
because they might think, okay, he knows our culture. Because one thing I would tell, the way we work in India, the way we work in UK is completely different. I mean, like,
Hmm.
in work culture, we just go and we make fun of our colleagues. I mean, like we do cracking jokes every time because we are like fun loving people, and we do all this stuff right
Hmm.
from our childhood. So we do these things, but here you cannot and go and crack jokes to a people unless until they know you. Even though
Hmm.
don't know the people, you do crack jokes, they'll understand, okay, he is cracking some jokes, and they'll
Cracking
laugh at
jokes.
us. Yeah, but here it's not the case. Is here it is like they'll be offended because they can't take that as a joke. So by time you learn all those stuff, but try to be
Yeah.
professional in
Yeah.
your calls and everything, because they are, you think like they are very polite, but at the end of the day they always see how you behave. That is the most important thing I forgot to tell. Even though you have
Hmm.
a lot of technical knowledge, you cannot be rude to them or unprofessional. They don't even consider you if you're unprofessional, definitely, because here the it is very strict here, these things. Even though you are a manager or you are something, if you do these things, you will be
Hmm.
expelled, or you'll be giving, yeah, you'll be giving warnings, one or two, then
Yeah.
they'll definitely explain, they'll expel you. So your attitude matters in your interview always when you are applying for the on-site roles, because try to be professional.
Hmm.
And even in the workforce also, like you can do crack jokes and all those stuff, but it's later on when the person knows you better way. But I don't even do that as much. So try to be in professional, because we don't do like, if they come here for 8 hours of work, you will see in the UK generally they work
Hmm.
for 7 hours or 6 hours, and they'll go off.
Okay. So thanks from her. Okay.
Thanks.
So yeah. So now, see that what you just said, we will take it as a tip. Yeah, because it's important. Means yeah, it's good to understand the culture also, because
Yes.
you don't think so means what they are doing, and how we behave, that is also more important. So now out of this, as you already said, means you need someone to be sponsor to come to no to go to UK. I'm talking from India. So let's say means I applied for some job, and I no I went I through with the interview process as well. Okay, and I got selected. So what will happen next? Means
Okay,
how this
so
deal converted
there are
into,
certain
yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there are certain things is happening. So when they're trying to give you the sponsorship, so they'll
Mm-hmm.
ask you all your documents, and they'll do the verification process. Just be clear.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the companies here, they do a strong verification, because you will be working for a banking sector, and here the regulations are very strict. It's unlike India. So in India, like if you do something, then okay, there is some way to escape. But here, I mean, like the verification process are very strong here.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason why you need to give your all documents. So they'll be doing a biometric test. So biometric test is something like if you are taught in English. So if you,
Mm-hmm.
for example, like if you have completed your BTech, so you need to get a certificate from your affiliation organization, or maybe your university, that saying that okay, so and so person taught in English. So that is required. So then if you give that document, then they will, based upon your scoring and everything, they'll give you a score on that. So if you are pass course, so in order to give a language test, so there are some cases when you did not do like BTech and something, so they might take you a language assessment test where you will hear and you will write those or something like that. So based upon that, that is also required, because so that is called as NARIC certificate. So you need to have an RX certificate if you
Mm-hmm.
come to here. But as a dependent, that is not required. But as a
Okay.
primary applicant, it is required. And all your certificates, everything, visa related. You need to have a document first of all,
First of all, yeah,
valid
true. That is
passport.
true. Yeah, that is true. And how about it means since say I got selected, and I'm planning to come with my wife or kids there. So are they going
Mhm.
to sponsor for them as well, or that we have to take
Uh,
care about ourselves? How it happen?
no, it most of the companies they give, but they don't give
Mm-hmm.
straight away. So they
Mm-hmm.
just give like a 5 months or 6 months of time. So
Mm-hmm.
if you have completed 6 months of time, then they do give the sponsorship to the wife or kid. But generally they give, yes. But
Yeah.
there are certain companies, they give you
Hmm.
sponsorship for primary applicant,
Hmm.
and they'll tell you, like, there are some few mid-scale companies, they'll select you, they'll give you a sponsorship, but they'll not process your
Hmm.
visa. So giving a sponsorship is different. Sponsorship is nothing but a number. When you are applying a
Hmm.
visa, that number has to be there. So the sponsorship certificate they'll provide you. So one certificate they'll provide you. Even for that also they will be paying some amount, but it is okay. But because not all the companies they can give the sponsorship to you. So there are few companies, there are certain companies they give the sponsorship, and those companies only they'll give you a sponsorship certificate. They might give you the visa fees and everything they might give, but a few companies they
Hmm.
tell, okay, we give the sponsorship, you apply the visa for yourself and for your wife and kid. So you can do by yourself, or else they'll give you the sponsorship and even the visa
Hmm.
cost for yourself. Maybe after 6 months or 3 months of time, they'll sponsor for your wife and kids as well. But at some
Okay.
companies they give at a time, like to
Okay.
all.
Okay. So what I understood here means there are some list of companies those are eligible to give the
Yes.
sponsorship for the candidate
Yes.
those are not natively from the UK, and there are other companies as well those are not able. I mean, they are not into the list. Those can give you the sponsorship, but they are still exist there, and people can work.
Yeah, but they can give you, yeah, it's like, local organizations. they'll
Local
they'll
organization.
they'll just, they cannot go globalization.
Okay, they
They'll
cannot
take,
hire
take the
a
candidate from
person
UK
from,
itself.
yeah.
Yes.
Yes, yes, I got it.
Yes.
I got it. So, Durga, this is the time to take some more questions, and
Yeah.
we can see. So, if in UK, as a student, is it easy to get the sponsorship after graduation?
mm, I would tell, as you studied in UK, so
Hmm.
always they have a, like, they have the priority, okay, because you have a lot spent a lot of money. If you are a good student, or if you have having a good degree, and if you have a eligible, like, a knowledge,
Hmm.
then obviously they'll
Hmm.
give you, because already you are here and you know the culture and everything. So that will always a advantage, rather than they're going for, taking the candidate outside. So always you have always the, like,
Plus
probability
side.
of getting job here, because I have seen, yeah, I've given many people, they give job to the, candidates, I mean, like, the students from here. Yes.
Okay.
But it's
So
based upon
it's.
your knowledge. So always, like, when you're studying, don't focus on only the enjoyment, but do little study.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yeah.
Because many people, they study here and they go back and work from there. So there is no point when you are spending a lot of money going back to India
Mhm.
and working from there. You do work here if you're willing to go back to India for certain circumstances, it is fine. But if you're going back straight away, like, because you don't have, because of lack of knowledge, then it is obviously a loss of your money what you spent here.
True. True. Okay. So we have another question from Priyanka. What if we are moving from an old technology to the new, on which we do not have great hands-on experience? How can we balance for the lack of hands-on experience?
Yes. So as I told you in my previous like conversation, like, you do have a knowledge on, probably front end automation, but you don't have knowledge on back end automation. So you have gone through that courses. So when you're doing going through the courses, and if you have a, like, little knowledge on the courses, try to implement in your own project if you're getting a role on that, or if you're doing a manual through Postman. So same you can try with your automation. So that if you have the opportunity there, if few people they don't have the opportunity, I will tell, like, be strong on that part. At least what are the courses you have done, there are a lot of open APIs where you can do the automation. So you do that, you stick to the various scenarios in that, because even they give like post, so you give like wrong input and everything, so you get your wrong response. Like, I mean, like, not wrong response, like you get 500, or you get, like, 200 to 204, everything like. So we have different status code for, for this APIs. So you can try to automate those, so that you can, even though you don't have experience, but at least you have worked upon real time the open APIs. So you can, stick to that. So you cannot say like you don't have experience. And obviously when you are giving interviews, when you have the experience, you have put up the experience, try to be a experienced person.
Yeah.
It's not like you don't know, and you can't say that, okay, I don't know, maybe I'm learning. So don't
Yeah.
tell like that.
Go
If you
with the
don't know,
confidence, I would say.
yes, go with the confidence. Yes.
And that is a good suggestion, I guess. Means, yeah, you try hands full of experience before,
Yes.
going to the interview. You can, there are most of the, open source and items are available. You can create your own project and something. Then
Because
you
I've
will
seen
also come
many.
across
Yes, because while
challenges.
taking
Hmm.
interviews, I've seen people, they are very good in giving the theoretical answers, but it's coming to the maybe you ask any code, they will fail to do so. But if you do this process or do this practice, then obviously you will not be in the failure side.
Correct. So I guess Priyanka got his answer. So let's see if we have more questions. Okay. So in most interviews, they talk about coding questions rather than the framework creation. How to get hands on these coding practices?
As I told you from the beginning only, nowadays they don't ask many questions. So they ask, even though they ask the framework creation, they'll not ask you like a simple questions. They'll ask you to write the code first. Then they'll go to the. So this is the at least. This is the least. I mean, like I can tell that the time what they've given the slot. So this is
Hmm.
they'll be having 5 minutes or 10 minutes or to ask this framework related questions.
Hmm.
But yeah, so you can try out lead code, and or maybe gigs for gigs. So I'll give you some sites. Lead code
Hmm.
also I will recommend, don't go for the complex ones because you'll end up losing your time, and just go for the beginner and intermediate levels. So
Hmm.
that is more than sufficient. And search and sorting algorithms you can see. Not nowadays, nobody asks like to write the code. Please write the code for a queue or list or implementation. They don't even ask because nowhere it is being used. I'll tell you one thing. Nowhere.
Hmm. Okay. So yeah, as you said, so once you will provide those information, we will post into the our
Yeah.
LinkedIn page so the people can refer from that those information from that section. Cool. So we have one more question. So, but some companies ask binary search tree, 2D dynamic programming tree, and the graph, which are not in use automation. So,
Uh,
yeah.
I would say like that is not the end of the world. The answer is that is not the end of the world, because you do prepare if you have time, but don't lose many companies. You might lose like one or two companies, but if you prepare for this, I'm not say like okay you don't prepare for this. It is good, like if your aspiration is like good. So if you know all these things, because even if you go for Google and Microsoft, these are the basic questions there, basic questions I'm saying. So the complexity goes high. But if you are a intermediate level, and if you're not remembering those, or if you're not able to write those, but you're comfortable with intermediate and beginner level, and that, then I would suggest okay you go for that and target those companies. So it's always based upon your ability. I can't tell myself I can go and work in the Google, because I know my limitations. It's always you work upon the limitations. Try to be your best version. I would suggest.
Correct.
But it is good to have this knowledge on this. I will not say like, because obviously if you know this, then you can crack anywhere. But first you finish those, then you go to this.
Cool. So I guess Tara has got his answer. Okay. So can I answer the visa process and about the sponsorship? So Shiva want to join this live session, and he want to give some more insight of the visa process. So yes, I would say means you can come and share your thought as we are end of the session. So we will quickly wrap it up. So when I can you make him with us? Okay, so by the time we got another question, so Sandeep is asking, what is the niche tool or the framework should I learn to get on site? role in the UK or the USA, and another is how to get to know the package will get for number of years experience. So he has a two questions here. So one
Okay.
question he is asking about the what framework he should know and which will help him to get the opportunity for the UK or any other country, and what package he should expect from the organization in terms of experience.
Uh, so the packages wise, like you can go and see in because here it is quite straightforward. They'll give you the roles with package. In India, like they just tell okay numbers of experience. They don't disclose the package because India they
Hmm.
do trade, right? People do trade, so so here it is not the case. They
Hmm.
don't do much, but they will genuinely they'll say like how much package it will be giving. If you are comfortable with that package, then you'll go for that. And from the framework and all, so I would say like I have seen many roles they ask C sharp. I don't know like why, but C sharp is a boom here. If you know C sharp automation and all, because I do work here C sharp because in my current project, which I never worked upon, I was having purely a Java experience, and even Python and C sharp they have a lot of demand here. So if somebody is planning to come here, if you don't have knowledge, then you just try to be good in C sharp or Python. You take one technology. C sharp they have a huge demand. Most
Hmm.
of the I have seen most of the job listed, that is the role is based out of C sharp. Then the Python comes in the picture. Then Java. So Java was previously, but now the C sharp is I don't know like a lot of opportunities, and they do sponsors. They give the sponsorship. So that's the reason why I'm just saying you can search even, so you'll get to know.
Cool. So yeah, let's see if we have any more questions, or else we will say yeah. So here's a question from Sandeep. Hi Durga. I have been working for SAP in e-commerce testing, but I'm not getting proper documentation related to Hyper in internet. If you know, please let me know.
I don't have knowledge on that, but I think one of my friend he used to work in SAP Hybris
Hmm.
development, I believe. So I would I can ask, and if I have anything, then probably I'll you can connect to me. If I got to know, then I can straight away give you.
Yeah. So Sandeep, you can connect with Durga after this, and he definitely and surely will help you. Okay. So now I guess we have few more question. So I would know say here means it's going to be answer at the end of the session means I will share with you Durga, and
Yeah.
what we will do, we will summarize those questions answer and publish to the LinkedIn and the site, so that means the leftover questions will be get answered and everyone get benefited. So I would say thank you very much, you Durga, with your times and everything, and it's
No
very
problem.
nice to meet you. As I say, meet you. Okay, and for audience and everyone, I would like to thank you everyone on the behalf of QA Talks community, and stay safe. Thank you. Thanks for joining this. Thank you, guys. Take care.